In this video, we're going to talk about fuel selection. We often get asked, what's the best fuel to burn? Is it wood, pellet, or gas? Under gas, we encompass both natural gas and propane. So with that conversation, we want to talk about three different things: availability, convenience, and cost of use. So let's start with availability. When you talk about wood, pellet, or gas is pretty much readily available anytime you need it. If you have a propane tank on site, you just make sure your tank stays full. Most propane providers will put you on a keep full plan where they come by every month and top you off as needed. Natural gas is plumbed right to your house, so it's always available. The past few years, pellets have experienced shortages, where even we have to ration our customers on the amount of pellets they can buy per day. So that is a little bit of a consideration to take into account, that if you are not stocked up on your pellets, we may run into a ration situation. It doesn't happen often, but it's just something to think about. Now, the availability of cordwood. This is a huge issue we've had in the past few years. Finding good seasoned cordwood is extremely difficult unless you have access and are willing to go out and cut it yourself. Trying to buy firewood the year that you want to burn it is next to impossible. Most firewood that's sold is generally green and not ready for burning. So if you want a wood stove, awesome. I just strongly encourage you to be prepared to source your cordwood a few years before you're ready to burn it, to make sure that you're properly burning and getting the best use out of your wood stove. Now, cost of use. If you have to buy your own cordwood, it can get pretty expensive. I think right now, at time of recording, I believe a cord of wood is selling for between $150 to $200, depending on the level of season. That's something to take into consideration. If you have your own source, obviously this is a null conversation. When it comes to pellets, there's a range in quality. You can get very inexpensive pellets, but you're gonna end up paying more in maintenance. Or you can buy a high quality pellet that's gonna run cleaner, be better for your pellet stove. And you're gonna pay a lot less in maintenance costs, most likely. The average pellet stove in the middle of winter will burn between a bag to 2 bags per day. And a bag of pellets ranges anywhere from $5 to $6 depending on the quality. Now let's talk about gas. Propane is it's a seasonal product. So I always recommend, if you can, fill your tank in the middle of summer when propane is the least expensive. If you need to call in the dead of winter to fill your tank, it can be a little bit more expensive. Now, natural gas, if you have natural gas to your home, I'm usually going to recommend that you get a natural gas stove. Natural gas is so clean, it's fairly inexpensive to run on a regular basis, and it's just easy to use. So if you have natural gas to your home, I usually like to have a conversation about the convenience, the cost of use, and a lot of times that's the way that will end up guiding you, is to natural gas. Now let's talk about convenience. As far as wood stoves go, you need to make sure you have your cordwood is cut, stacked, ready to roll. There's a little bit of an inconvenience as far as that goes. Also, you need to make sure that you're stoking your fire on a regular basis, depending on the burn time of your stove, and keeping fuel in the fire. The nice thing about a wood stove is that if the power goes out, you still have heat, which is obviously a pretty high reason for having a wood stove and one of the main attractions to the wood burning stoves. Convenience with a pellet stove. It's fairly convenient if you are able to get your bags of pellets. Simply dump a bag of pellets into the hopper and that stove is going to run. As long as there's pellets in the hopper, you are good to go. There are multiple places, I'm sure in your area, where you can buy bags of pellets depending on the quality. The downfall to a pellet stove is that if the power goes out and you don't have a backup generator, the pellet stove will not work. So if you are saying that one of your goals for your fireplace or stove is that you want to have a backup heat source, we're probably going to steer you away from a pellet stove because it likely is not going to satisfy your requirements. Now, talking about gas. Gas is one of the most convenient things to do. All you do in most scenarios is you hit a button, you set your temperature, boom, you have fire, it's warm, it turns off when you're ready for it to turn off. Any gas stove, whether it's propane or natural gas, is going to be the most convenient way to heat your home. If you'd like to have further discussion on this, if you have questions, please reach out. You can check us out at chimneytechniques.com.